You're listening to Turi Writer's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marcy Persky. In this installment, there have been some rude awakenings lately for me, for Marcy, and for some students on college campuses. Question for you.
Yeah.
How many nights with no sleep does it take for you to completely lose your mind, like an exploding cry at dog food commercials, unable to function, stapling two pieces of paper together might be too much for you?
2 maybe.
2 nights?
Yeah. I'm saying maybe because I haven't really done that since my last child was a baby who is now almost 30.
Yeah, there's a reason people have their children young. I love the fact that I get to still do radio. But you start to understand how people buy guns for no reason and just go out and stand on the top of a water tower because after 3 nights of no sleep, nothing makes sense, and you hate especially anyone who gets in the way of your night's sleep. For example, I finally lay down after 2 days of getting up on 2 hours of sleep, and the doorbell rings and the dog goes nuts, and I don't normally respond when I don't have to. Figure they're just trying to sell me some kind of solar installation. But then the bell rang again, and when I looked out the window, I saw one of Chicago's finest police cruisers out there.
Oh.
So I thought, all right,
what did you do?
Well, I didn't. I mean, I knew I hadn't done anything, or at least I thought I knew I hadn't done anything. But I went downstairs, and then I opened the front door, and then the alarm went off because I set the alarm when I go to sleep. And so then that called the police, who were already there. But the guy's like, oh, yeah, they'll call, and I'll just tell them that I'm already here and it was an accident not to come. But apparently on my block, there was a series of robberies. And because we have a camera, they wanted to know if we had footage of the event.
Ooh, did you?
So the first thing is that I had to mentally try to figure out which of these days with no sleep that would have been. And then you remember we finally put a solar panel on the camera and it hasn't quite been working right. And I haven't had the time to tell the spouse. So it worked up until 10 days before the incident. Yeah. So I'm not, but I don't think that from my house you're going to get at night a look at a license plate on a dark car going in reverse fast down there. That's not going to happen. But you got to commend the police. They were out there trying. And here's the weird thing. Normally, I appreciate this effort, but I was furious for a good 45 minutes. And the 3 words that just kept 4 words. See, I couldn't count. The 4 words that just kept going through my head as though I had been done some terrible, grievous wrong was, they woke me up. They woke me up. They woke me up. It would be like someone had gone into a cathedral and just whizzed on icons of the Blessed Virgin. I mean, that's how aggrieved I felt. I felt like a religious indignation. I was so upset. So clearly, now last night, I got back on my regular schedule, which is why we can record today. And today I was fit for fight so that I can be outraged about something, so I can be annoyed about something else. Would you like to know what it is?
Sure, and then I'll give you mine.
Your list, yeah. Well, why don't you start with yours, and then I'll tell you mine, because I've just been furious for the last 5 minutes. You go ahead.
Well, 2 days ago, I got an email from, I don't know, one of the million protectors on my phone and internet saying that my social security number was found on the dark web thanks to a hack in at AT&T.
Oh, boy.
I haven't had AT&T for at least 30 years. So the fact that they kept my social security number that long is A, annoying. So I spent,
Wait. Could that be
yeah,
a lie? Could they just be fishing?
no, it was real
Okay.
because it came from Experian and Discover.
Oh, came
It
from
was
everywhere.
reliable because then
Okay.
I did a scan.
Okay. All right. So then what?
I spent 4 hours trying to figure out how to alert Social Security. The internet tells me the only way I can do it is to call them.
Oh, no.
Your wait is 2.5 hours. I was like, screw that. I have a life. So then yesterday, I'm looking at our bank account and
Yes.
there's a charge for DoorDash.
Ooh.
You know where I live.
Yeah, no one's dashing up the mountain to your
No,
door.
nobody dashes out here.
No, they
There's
they
no
can
such
barely
thing.
climb there with two of those mountain climbing poles and a Sherpa.
So I called my bank to report that there's no DoorDash here, and there probably never will be since there are two houses on my street. And they said, okay, we'll fix it. So a couple hours later, I look, and they had refunded the money.
Right.
But then this morning, I look, and they took the money out again.
What?
Yeah, so now I know. I feel like I'm being attacked on all fraudulent fronts,
It's the DoorDash hokey pokey.
I guess. And it's a DoorDash San Francisco.
Huh. Well, this is what they do to see if the card works.
Well, my card doesn't work because I had to cancel it right before we're leaving town for the weekend for my birthday. So my card is canceled because somebody obviously got the number, probably through my social security number, and has cracked my carefully construed wall that I hide behind on the internet.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and then I went through this
I don't
thing.
suppose they're going to send you a birthday card, huh?
I don't think so. I'm
Oh.
like so mad. So now I have to ask Frankie for money. I can't,
Ooh,
and I don't like that.
that's the worst.
Yep.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I don't want him to know how much I'm spending.
For your birthday, for yourself?
Yeah.
What are you buying yourself for your birthday?
I don't know yet. We're going to hang out at the casino because they're
Why does
having
that
like
not surprise me? Are you going to get another $75 hamburger?
no. We haven't done that for a while. The last time we were at this particular casino,
Yes.
I won $300 and we went to their steakhouse and spent it cost $250. I've never been in a restaurant so expensive and there's no prices on the menu.
Well,
It probably should have been a
that's a tip
tip
off.
off.
Yeah.
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 And then yesterday, I'm sitting on my couch minding my own business as usual.
But it's DoorDash ringing your bell.
Yesterday was my catastrophe.
Uh-oh. That's catastrophe as in massive feline mishap.
I'm sitting on the couch. So Pancakes was sitting next to me. Derp wanted that spot. So Derp jumped on Pancakes. Pancakes jumped 3 feet in the air with her claws out and landed on my face and got one right here on my nose, one across my nose, and like three on my chest. It took like hours to stop bleeding.
Ooh.
So I'm guessing one of the medicines I take every day could possibly be a blood thinner.
Oh, totally. A puppy nipped me when I was visiting Toronto in a park. It took 3 days to stop bleeding.
Ugh. Well, it
Yeah.
didn't take me that long, but it took longer than it should
Well,
have.
don't have surgery is my advice to you.
Well, I'm all done with that.
Yeah, and your arm is doing
Uh,
great.
Fell on my arm today too,
Oh God.
and it didn't break.
Oh good.
So the metal's holding up.
I feel
I
li-
think I got my foot caught in the pellet stove.
I feel
I'm not sure, but I just went flying.
I feel a little queasy thinking about this scenario, but I'm glad you're really glad you're
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
So
I was queasy. Laying on the floor thinking, oh, I hope my hand doesn't move.
I don't want to think about it. I'll puke. So,
Okay, now tell me yours.
well, all right. This is a not political show, so I want to be really clear that this particular incident I'm discussing without regard to the politics involved.
Okay.
You may have read or seen that there's been a lot of political activity on university campuses lately, and that several university presidents have lost their jobs owing to testimony in front of Congress, a lot of public pressure, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
There was yet another protest on another university campus, but this time the students were told if you do X or Y or Z, you will be disciplined. You will be disciplined by these methods. This will happen. You'll be suspended. You'll be locked out of your room. You may not get your whatever the list was. And They were told, and they were given documentation in writing that they would have to cease and desist, whatever it was they were doing. Again, I don't care about the politics. And as part of their effort, they ignored these warnings, and then the consequences happened. So the weird part is all these students, they're 18 to 21, 22 years old, they regard this as manifestly unfair to them. And
we know that they're stupid at that age.
Well, it's very odd because what I want to know is, did their parents always threaten them and then never do what was threatened? Because I've seen that. If you do that again, Junior, you're not going to get to play with that toy. And the kid does it again, and the mother does nothing. And I'm thinking, I
always followed through. Asked my kids that had to walk 5 miles when I said I'm pulling over this car if you guys don't stop fighting.
5 miles? That's impressive.
Yeah.
I tore up Cubs tickets. Actually, maybe they were A's tickets. I forget which team. Maybe both. I don't know. But didn't I tell you that story where I told the big cutie that if he carried on like that, he would not be going to a baseball game? And he carried on like that. And I said, last warning, you're not going to a baseball game if you don't calm yourself down. And he kept it up. And to the astonishment and distress of the spousal unit, I took the envelope of tickets and ripped it 4 ways. And he stared at me and I said, both of them, the big cutie and the spouse, are staring at me completely shocked. And I say to the spousal unit, we'll only have to do this once.
Well, my 2 children that were thrown out of the car, it took them twice as long to get home as it should have. Okay. And so I'm sitting there. They finally get home. So I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. And I basically know how long it takes to walk 5 miles because I used to walk to school with snow up to my eyebrows.
Yes, you did.
Winds 50 miles an hour.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And so when they finally got home hours later, and I'm like, where have you been? And they said, oh, well, we had to sit on the curb for a while and talk about how much we hate you. I said, oh, thank you.
Well, yeah. Or maybe they were just
it all out.
pausing to see if you would change your mind and come get them.
Yeah. Didn't happen.
No, I mean, but this is, so I'm watching this whole wave of consequences. People who are, they're warned that if they espouse whatever the views are, they're going to lose their speaking privileges at events, or their event will be canceled, or it won't be able to be held on campus, or they're going to be suspended. Whatever the administration does is just dumbfounding to me that then the kids are shocked when that happens. And so I don't care about the politics involved. I cannot say this strongly enough for the purposes of this conversation. I'm just astonished. And I can't believe that, our 2 listeners would also, I would imagine, be astonished at the idea that someone would say, if you light that firecracker and then don't let it go, it's going to blow up in your hand. And then someone lights a firecracker, doesn't let it go, blows up in their hand, and they would be furious and outraged and upset, as though nobody told them this would happen.
Like I said, 18 to 22-year-olds are incredibly stupid.
Well, the other thing I would like to know, if my kid did this, if my kid was at one of these things and was warned, if you do this, you will be suspended and you will lose your grades, possibly your tuition. And I would have a conversation with the big or the small cutie and say, any credits you lose, you're going to pay for those. I'm only paying for these once. You want to protest, you can protest in a lot of different ways, whatever it is you want to protest, But if the consequences are to me, guess what? They're not really to me. They're going to go right to you because I'm not the one getting notes saying, if you don't get out of the rose bushes, we're going to charge you the cost of the gardening and landscaping at this school for a month. If you don't listen, you're paying, not me, not I. I won't be the one. And yet, these kids are giving interviews. They just cannot imagine what has happened to them. It's bizarro. Thanks for listening to the Turi Writers She Said What podcast. Since you've made it to the end, you might want to know that my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air, is not only available in print, but now also in complete audiobook form, narrated by me and available on Audible.